Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. My name's James, and today I'm joined by two of our correspondents ahead of a game in Game Week 24, 2 p.m. on Sunday at the Hawthornes. First of all, let me introduce you to our West Bromwich Albion correspondent, Gemma Eno. How are you, Gemma?
Not too bad, thank you.
Good, Gemma. And let me introduce you to Gary Robinson. Is my cat playing on Twitter, our Manchester United correspondent. How are you, Gary?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Good stuff. Gemma, we have to get rid of the elephant in the room because a lot of people will be asking, where's young Harrison and how is he?
Harrison is fine. He's currently staying with my mum and dad, so he can't be here today.
Shame. For those who don't know, Harrison is Gemma's son. How old's Harrison, Gemma? He's 10?
He's 11.
11 now?
Yeah.
Harrison, unfortunately, obviously can't be with us today, but send that little man regards from all the FPL community. And Gary, how's your two kids? I understand one of yours not been too well either.
Oh, I think they've got cabin fever from lockdown. The school's been shut obviously since December, and it's not good for them, is it? Obviously, I know the reasons why it's happening, but it's just not good to have them in no routine. We're both working from home, so homeschooling's no routine. It's just not fair on them, really.
No, we've all got kids, so you've got my sympathy, guys. And anybody who's listening has got homeschooling going on at the moment. It's got my sympathy. Gemma, do you reckon Sam Allardyce doing a lot of homeschooling at the moment?
No, I don't think he's bothered.
Come on, talk to me. How are you feeling about him?
Well, I can see what he's trying to do, but it's just not. He hasn't got the players to do it this time. It's a step too far. I know that, he's had his great escapes at Sunderland and Palace and whatever, but the players are they're just not good enough. And I think what's happened is, so we'll start back, with Slav. I think he was unfortunate to be sacked, but the 2020 record wasn't great when you look at it in terms of games when he won 8 out of 21 in 2020. 4 wins at home. That's not great. And they limped over the line, when they got promoted. It wasn't pretty. And it all went down to the last day and Brentford couldn't win on that last day. So then we ended up getting in all the players that he wanted, like Callum Robinson, Dean Garner, Pereira. But essentially they were the players that we already had in the Championship, and they're the players that limped over the line. Okay, we got Carlin Grant in. That hasn't worked out very well. I think he's a left winger who's been like Callum Robinson's a left winger who has been tried to play up front. He's tried Dean Garner up front. And essentially it was possession-based football. They were, especially in that first bit in 2019, they were a possession-based football team who attacked with wing play, and it was great. And we still saw some of that at the back end of the season when we were promoted. Obviously, that's not going to work in the Premier League, especially when you've got essentially the same players. So the last time that I spoke to you, we weren't, and I was reasonably optimistic. We beat Sheffield United. Okay, we were lucky because Sheffield United had chance after chance after chance, so we probably shouldn't have won that one. And then we did the Clash of the Correspondents against Palace, and I thought, and we lost that one 5-1. So, okay, Pereira was sent off for a ridiculous high, so he kicked his feet out. I've seen worse, and I've seen them not given, but let's not go into that. And then I think they were already planning for his sacking. So they rock up at the Etihad. I'm expecting them to be battered 6-0. I don't even watch the first half because I'm that fed up with it all. Because before that, they'd lost to Newcastle as well, who had half their team out with COVID as well. So we lost to them. Dwight Gale obviously scoring the winning goal to add insult to injury, as it were. And we were amazing, and we managed to scrape a 1-1. And then it broke in the press that he was going to be sacked the next day. So obviously we looked like total idiots, and people are taking the mickey and saying, what were they expecting at the Etihad? Were they expecting to win? So then he leaves, and then the problem that you've got then, I wasn't opposed to, Sam coming in. I thought, well, his record speaks for itself. He obviously knows his football, he knows his stuff. But then his tactics are the absolute opposite. It's a little bit like the Pulis-Pardew thing, but in reverse, because that was the opposite, because we had Pulis's players who couldn't attack and Pardew came in and tried to attack. But this time it's the complete opposite. So you've got players who aren't used to
scattergun approach almost, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And he's changing the team every week. He's tried 3 different right backs. So he had Furlong in, he's had O'Shea in, and then yesterday he played Peltier, almost like, well, those 2 are crap, so let's try this one. We've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's, you know, I'm excited about him playing, but he is a right back that could play there, but he's saying, no, I'm going to play in midfield, thank you very much. So we're like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. And then when you look at the possession stats, James, against Sheffield United.
I mean, you had 35%, I think, in that game.
32%.
Oh, well, yeah.
32% against bottom of the league, and we were dreadful. And then against Fulham, we were 37%. Against teams that you want us to go out and attack. And what hurts me the most is that the players as well, a lot of it lands on them because they don't even look like they're trying half the time. And the defense, and another problem that we've got is that we haven't got any Premier League experience, and that back four, we've got those central defenders of Bartley and Ajay, and okay, they've scored goals, but they can't, and we've got Jake Livermore and Romain Sawyers, but they're just not good enough, so they don't shield the back four. And I had to laugh when we brought this player called OK, and I spoke to my dad and said, well, he's going to be the best player, isn't he? And I just thought, well, that just sums it up. So it's utterly depressing. I mean, we've got Man United at the weekend at home. Our home form is absolutely abysmal. I think since Big Sam came in, I think our aggregate score at home is 18-2. So that's great. So I'm expecting Man United to absolutely batter us. So it's going to be 4-5, 6-0 at the weekend because at home we're awful. And then we've got 4 games: Burnley, Brighton, Newcastle and Palace. So we're currently, if you want to clutch at straws, which I've totally given up, by the way, I don't think we'll get a single point out of those.
Wow.
But we're 11 points adrift of Burnley. We've conceded 54 goals, 54. We're currently conceding 3 goals a game, 3. So actually yesterday, James, we did well. We conceded 2. That's progress.
It's not based on what other teams have been doing against Tottenham lately.
No, I know, because we spoke before the game, and you were like, no, you weren't optimistic, and I kept saying, don't worry, James, it's fine.
I mean, I wasn't worried, but I have every right not to be optimistic at the moment.
And I was saying, people were saying, oh no, I'm not going to get Son. He's not on form. I was like, you're playing the worst defence ever in the Premier League. They're going to be by the end of the season. I'm absolutely certain of it. So yeah, there isn't really much hope. But I mean, if Big Sam pulls it off, it's going to be the biggest miracle of all time, because we're 11 points adrift with the goal difference of -34 or whatever it is.
Another point.
That's an extra point. So it's 12. So if we win them all, we're level with Burnley, and that presumes that they don't win any. So yeah, we're going down, and yeah, that's the end of it. End of podcast.
I'm gonna let you breathe for a moment, Gemma.
Sorry, I had to get all of that
it's possibly the most heroic rant I've ever heard on Clash to Correspondence. So thank you very much for that. Gary, with that being said, are we overlooking Bruno Fernandes as a captaincy option this game week, or do we just have to go for a City player because they've got a double?
I mean, I think you could captain Bruno. I don't think it'd be a bad decision. I personally if I see someone's got a double, I've always got to find a captain from them. It's just how I do it. And I think, especially when you've got City players that you could captain. I mean, you've got Gundogan who's on great form, but even a Sterling or even the defence app, even if Bruno goes mad, what's he going to get? 15? I mean, you only need 2 returns from Sterling and you probably get 15 anyway. So I couldn't captain Bruno this week, but I could see the appeal, especially if you haven't already got, a City attacker or a Calvert-Lewin. You could just do it and hope it goes big. But I think really you've got to go for a doubler, haven't you? That's what I always think anyway. I I couldn't captain a single game weeker.
No, I'm
and then have a double sat there going mad.
I'm inclined to agree, and I'll almost definitely captain a City player as well. But you think about it and you think, okay, City versus Tottenham or West Brom versus Man United, generally Fernandes would be popular. If you go Everton versus City or Fernandes at West Brom, you go Fernandes will be very popular. And we're talking about City guys that could easily be rotated anyway, right? Unless maybe if you pick Edison or Diaz or something, there's every chance whoever you pick is only going to play once. So with that in mind, are we all just going to overlook it?
Guys, can I just repeat the
Go on, Gemma. I know what you're going to say already. You're captaining him, aren't you?
Triple captain him. Triple captain him.
I've used my triple captain and Salah in a blank, which I'm still gutted about.
I thought you was going to say when he blanked against West Brom.
No, although I did captain him there. But can I just repeat the aggregate score, guys? 18-2. Yeah. 18-2 since Big Sam came at home.
All right, so let's flip that. Let's flip that another way, Gemma. Okay, so these players who are not good enough, who have performed under two different regimes and not done the business and basically not been doing it for, let's be honest, 12 months now, has still managed to go to the Etihad and draw, go to Anfield and draw, lost 1-0 at Old Trafford to Bruno Fernandes retaken penalty. I think we all captained him that day as well, I think. So is there not a chance that you just put barricades up and this becomes an awkward game? Because to bring Gary back in, these are nightmare games for you, Gary, aren't they?
No, I don't think it is. I think
lost to Sheffield United, mate.
No, we beat Sheffield United, didn't we? Away?
No, 2-1 the other week at home.
Yeah, but
it's at home. Oh, okay.
Yeah, our problems are at home, aren't we? Away from home, we are a better side. I think we will win this weekend, which is about as positive as I ever get. I think we'll win. It's, and our away form versus West Brom's home form, it looks a recipe for disaster, doesn't it? If you're a West Brom fan, unfortunately.
Yeah, it'll be another 5-6 niller, definitely.
Wow.
They'll try and put the barricades up, James, and they'll fail miserably like they do every time. But the only thing is, this OK guy is what Big Sam has been desperately looking for, because he often says that it's not the defence's fault that they don't stop the ball coming in from the midfield or they run through the midfield. So this OK guy is a defensive midfielder, so he will definitely start probably in instead of Livermore or Sawyers, and he will try and protect the back four. And then you have got these new players like that. Our new striker Diagne, he actually looks really decent, and I know he needs to learn the offside rule first of all. But he at least he's there, and
yes, it's true.
He's getting on the end of things. And another thing that I didn't mention was Pereira being benched. I mean, what on earth was that? I mean, because Pereira actually, because I often think about this and I talk about it with other Albion fans about have they gone backwards, and I think they have gone backwards. And if they had kept Slav, there's no way that they'd be any worse than they have been. There's no way, because they would have tried. We'd still be being relegated still, but I don't think we'd be battered at home every week. But I mean, Pereira is the only player I think who's actually improved under Big Sam. I mean, he was coming for the Spurs game. I think he'd scored 5 in 6. Okay, 2 of them were penalties at Wolves, which that's the only positive that I can take for the last 2 weeks is we beat Wolves because that was amazing. But he's the only one. So everybody on Twitter was absolutely mystified that you would drop your best player. And then he comes out with, well, he didn't fit into our tactics that week. And I mean, you were watching the game. He came on in like the 79th minute and he went past 2 people, turned away, put a ball in straight on Diagne's head, and he scored, but it was offside after about 2 minutes of being on the pitch.
It's his first touch.
We look better. We look way better. And okay, we were losing 2-0. So obviously Spurs had given up by this point. But in those 10 minutes, we looked way better with him on the pitch. So it was just a disaster of a decision. And I don't get it at all.
I've been saying on the podcast, and I said this before the Sheffield United and Fulham games, because for me you had to be like at least 4 points from those two games as a minimum going into them.
Yeah.
You lost at Sheffield United having been ahead, and you should have lost to Fulham as well, in all honesty. I mean, you didn't have a kick in the first half. And I speculated before the two games that I thought that if he lost twice, there was every chance that you would just sack Allardyce, just have enough, because it's not a long-term project with him anyway. So if the realization is that you're going to go down, you might as well reassess it and just get someone in to start for next season now, for example. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everybody knows that he's not going to be there next season. Whatever, he won't be there, which means that we've got all these loan players in, and so I worry for us in the Championship, to be honest, next season. I don't know who's going to be taking over. So I agree, but the only thing that he can do now is, we'll write the Man United game off, which they will. They'll just try and sit back and defend, and they'll lose. But those 4 games, he's got his signings now, because all the people that he wanted, he's going to put them all in for those games. Will it make a difference, and will they be a turning point? Because because like you said, the Fulham game, I thought, if we win that one, then we might be back in it. And then we drew and we were winning. And then the Sheffield United game, but if we win that one and we were winning and we lost, it's just going to be, it might all turn. If they can win a couple, they won't. If they can win a couple back to back, then you just know you don't. But like there's no new manager bounce at all, is there? There hasn't been at all. Like usually you can see it after a few games, but apart from the Wolves win, and we were lucky, there were 2 penalties on another day. Michael Oliver might not have given them, so we were lucky there. And Wolves, have got their own problems and haven't had a great season. But yeah, he won't be there at the end of the season. So I if they do lose, say they lose all 4 of those games, I can see like a Pardew situation happening, and because he left, after a disastrous run, and then Big Dave came in and took out Darren Moore to you, but Big Dave to us.
Well, he's someone else who shouldn't have got sacked.
No, exactly. He's another one. He shouldn't have. And if you see at Doncaster now, they're doing amazingly well. They're winning every game. So yeah, I would have him back, which would never happen, but. Yeah, it's just that what's the next step is worrying after Sam. I don't know the answer.
I think we'll be revisiting this. Gary, the title race, is it still open, my friend?
No, it's done, isn't it? It's City's to lose now, isn't it? What are they now? 5 clear with the game in hand, or I can't remember what the numbers are now.
Ask Klopp, because he got the numbers wrong anyway, so I'm sure
I've seen that. Yeah. No, I think it was live for about a month, wasn't it? Where City hadn't hit the run yet, and Liverpool were definitely struggling. But it's definitely over now, isn't it? City will win it by, I don't know, 10, 15 points again, maybe.
Because I know when we last spoke, you were parting in jest about it's in your hands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But going into the Liverpool game, suddenly it did kind of, if you'd won that day, really feel like you were on the edge of it. You draw that, and because obviously City keep winning, you lose to Sheffield United inexplicably. Then, to be honest, Saturday, I thought for large parts that was the best I'd seen of you at Old Trafford this season. I don't know how you didn't win the game, but then it feels like you just can't see City dropping the points, I think, is the point, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the only thing that would give us half a chance is if we can keep it to the points gap it is now, and then they go deep in the Champions League again, and it becomes too much for them. But the squad they've got, and they've got players like Laporte who can't even get in the team, and you just think the squad's never going to be stretched that much, is it? Unless they get a load of injuries. I just can't see, like you say, they're not conceding goals, which was always something you could possibly get at them, because they tended, the first few years of Guardiola, they were higher scorers, weren't they? So you thought you could always see them losing mad games, but they've completely just eradicated that, haven't they? And they've just gone, they're just not conceding goals. So because you don't concede goals, they're never going to go on that mad run of losing like Liverpool have done. They're never going to lose 3 and 4, are they? Because they're just not conceding enough goals to do that. So I think the title race And I was half only joking, but it was on for a spell. You can't get to top of the league after 19 games and pretend you're not in a title race. But I think the players, Solskjaer said, "Oh, we were never in it." Well, why weren't we in it? we've got one of the most expensive squads in the history of the game. We were top. We were actually top of the league. You can't pretend you weren't in the title race.
That's fair comment. It was one of the things I wanted to ask you about was how did you feel about the fact that he came out and said that? Because I would have thought from a Manchester United fan perspective, I know you've become quite realistic as a fan base over the last few years in terms of there is no ultra expectation to win the league every year at the moment. And I don't think there was ever this season either. But once you got yourself into, you kind of fell into a position through being consistent away from home more than anything. Suddenly you're there and with an opportunity, and his comments seem to be downplaying it. I just think it didn't fit in with the Manchester United mantra, basically.
I think he does that to manage expectations and make his performance look better because there was no reason that we weren't in that title race. There was nothing. We've not had any serious injuries all season. We were top of the league. City had games in hand on us at one point, but even those games in hand wouldn't have allowed them to catch us if they'd won them. So we were in the title race. I think it's just job preservation for him, isn't it? And if you can say, well, we were never actually in the title race, so if we finish third again, and we only finish 15 points behind instead of 33 behind, then I've done a good job. But it does make you wonder, as well as City are playing now, we should still be closer to them. We've lost to Sheffield United, we've drawn with Everton. Everton, that in isolation is not a bad result, drawing with Everton as such, but not when you're in stoppage time. You can't lose to Sheffield United. Where I can't think where else we've dropped points recently, but even the Liverpool game, we should have won that really. Again, that's not a bad result in isolation, a 0-0 at Anfield, but the way Liverpool are at the minute and the way it played out, that was 2 points dropped really. And like you say, if we'd won that and we held on Saturday, the title race is still on. But now it's not going to happen, is it? City will win that by April, I think.
So are you looking over your shoulder rather than looking up, or do you just think we're going to kind of just coast through here and finish second, third, fourth, whatever?
I don't think. Unless Spurs can...
Oh, stop it, mate.
No, unless Spurs can rattle a run together again, like they did earlier in the season, keep Kane and Son fit, I can't see enough of the teams behind us. I think Chelsea could easily finish above us. And I think Liverpool at some point will, get themselves back in gear. But I can't think of anyone other than Spurs, because I think Leicester will end up like they did last season, where they'll just run out of legs. I think so, yeah.
I think they'll be stronger for the experiences of last year, and Diddy's going to be back next week. Jamie Vardy was back on Sunday. I think they'll be stronger for the experience. They've got more in depth now. Look, they've just lost Castagno and Fofana, and they bring Pereira and Siyuncu into the team. So I think depth-wise, they've improved a lot. It was more kind of in reference to obviously Chelsea, because there's an unpredictability and unknown about what's going to happen there at the moment. That could they push in to join yourselves, Leicester and Liverpool?
Oh, I think so. I think Chelsea are absolute certainty to finish top four. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've got probably the second best defence in the league. They've got a decent manager.
You see Rudiger's own goal on Sunday, mate?
No, I know, but just more generally as how they play, and they don't concede many, do they? And I think at some point you've got to figure that they'll start scoring some proper amount of goals, and Pulisic hasn't really caught fire yet. Ziyech hasn't, Havertz hasn't, Werner hasn't. At some point they'll start rattling some goals in, and I think they're absolute certain. I think Chelsea are probably favourites to finish second.
Wow. Well, you will be appearing on Thursday's Clash of the Correspondents as well. Not personally, but you'll be doing some of the questions for me. Thanks, mate. We've got Ted on rotation FPL from Chelsea on Thursday's Clash of the Correspondents. Let's see what he makes of your prediction that they may finish second. Let's talk about FPL assets if we can, Gary. Rashford really caught my eye on Sunday. I know he didn't score Saturday, sorry. It was the first time eye test-wise I thought, ooh, yeah, he's on it here. And am I right in saying that the front three just looked better on Saturday with Greenwood, Rashford, and Cavani through the middle between them.
Yeah, I think Cavani's not a better player than I thought, but he's in better shape than I thought he would be. I thought we were going to get I don't know how old he is. Is he 35, 36?
Ibrahimovic?
I thought we were going to get someone who was winding the career down and was just going to
still
be
going
a bit of a
Zlatan, to be fair.
cameo. Yeah, and he's not like that at all, is he? He's still the Cavani that you were watching 5 years ago. Greenwood's finally in a bit of form. He's not getting the goals and things like that, but he's actually playing well, which actually isn't something he did last season. Last season he tended to just score goals, and he didn't offer a lot more. Whereas now he does seem to actually contributing, even if he doesn't score, which I think is a good sign for him. And like you say, Rashford looks on it. The problem is that given that most of us have already got Bruno, to then fit a Rashford in, you've spent, what's that, 21 million, and I don't know. And I think as well, there is an argument, even if we get a double, there is an argument to start coming off United, because the double will be Palace away, Chelsea away. 27, we've got Man City away. 28 is West Ham at home, which West Ham don't concede many, and I think City have got Fulham that day, so you're not going to captain anyone. And then we would blank in 29. So it's a lot of money to tie up in Rashford and Bruno, or even if you went to Greenwood, they're still 18, 19 million. So I think there's an argument to start coming off, especially if it frees up. Most of us were thinking, where's Kane come back from yesterday all of a sudden? Because when I saw Kane's name on that team sheet, my heart sank, because I thought he was an obvious captain and he's back all of a sudden. So if you haven't got Kane, or you haven't got, a third City attacker, or Son, or, whoever else ends up doubling, do you want to pile into United attackers with those fixtures? I don't think you do.
It's interesting, isn't it? Where are you at strategy-wise, chip-wise, Gary?
I wildcarded in 16 to bench boost in 19, and then I got to 19 and I had Balbuena.
Ajay, Livermore.
No, I can't remember who I had. I had Balbuena. I had Meslier, who was rumoured to have an illness, and turned out he did. And I can't remember who else I ended up with. So anyway, I got to 19 and I only had one player who I knew was going to definitely play. I think it was Che Adams. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to play. I'm just not going to bench boost. So I've now ended up with.
So you've got everything.
Bench boost still to put. No, I've used my free. I used my free hit in 18.
Okay.
So my plan was to either wildcard next week to bench boost in 26, but I don't know how that's going to work with 29. And then I thought, well, I'll just use free transfers and, get myself for a bench boost in 26. But because they've put all these doubles in 24 and 25, the only way you can really use free transfers to attack 26 is to bin off either 24 or 25. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. I've got no idea.
Leeds have made the 25 wild card awkward, because we know that they definitely won't double in 26. Southampton might, if you want to go down that route.
But you wouldn't want the Southampton assets. You would want the 3 Leeds, wouldn't you, for 25?
Right, Southampton might double 25, 26, 27, but that's the wrong podcast. Anyway, the reason I was asking was I want to know what United players you've got at the moment.
I've got Fernandes, and that's it. And depending on what I do, I'm more likely to get rid of Fernandes than I am to add to him.
Right.
I think, just to free up funds and things like that, because I think I'd rather have Kane for a 26 double than I would Fernandes.
It means shoving a couple of things around on 26 if you want to do that.
Yeah.
You've got Newcastle after West Brom as well.
I know that's the problem, isn't it? Because if you do it on 25, you won't want to lose it. But the other thing is, you're not going to captain him in 25, even though it's Newcastle at home, because, well, I'm not anyway. I'm going to captain Bamford, I think, in a double. Or you might want to captain Ings.
I'll probably do the same, but perhaps, again, are we looking overlooking Bruno this week and next week?
You might do, but, I just can't not captain people in the double. It's just probably a weakness, I think. But so I don't know. I've really got no idea what to do with them. But I might come off them just because I just don't fancy the fixtures, and I'm not going to captain him till. Well, you're probably not going to captain Fernandes now until game week 30 at the earliest.
Yeah, I get that. I feel I'm probably in a similar position to you that, he may not be getting captain till the blank or in the blank if you lose to West Ham, which is tonight, technically, when this goes out. We should just say for the listeners, we're pre-recording this on Monday night, just in case Bruno's done his hamstring and training on Tuesday morning and we don't know about it. Gemma, have you got United assets yourself at the moment?
I also have Bruno. I'm thinking I probably need 3 Man United for this weekend.
I don't know if you're being serious or not, Gemma.
Honestly, I think it could be another 9-0. So,
well, we haven't even spoken about that yet, and we did mention Southampton.
We haven't. I think, and actually, you asked the question about, are they looking over their shoulder? And I was thinking, Albion are looking over. Sheffield United will overtake us soon, and we'll be bottom. But I think Rashford will get a couple. I think Bruno will get a couple. I think you've got to get either Shaw or Wan-Bissaka or someone in who are certain for a clean sheet and maybe bonus and maybe an assist.
Right. So seriously, are you going to buy Manchester United players this week, John?
I might do. I'm talking myself into it.
You're talking everyone into it at the moment.
Yeah.
I think with the stats and stuff, I think I'd be foolish not to captain Bruno. And I'm the same with double game weeks, and they hoodwink me every single time. And I'll get somebody in and I'll captain them or I'll triple captain them because they're playing 2 games. And more often than not, they don't even play 2, they play 1. And then they're benched for the other one, which has happened to me, with Kane and Sterling and Salah this time. So I just think, Albion are dreadful. They're awful. They've conceded 54 goals. They lost 5-0 at home to Leeds. Do you not think that they're going to get battered on Sunday? They will. Leeds
are better than Palace, I think. That's risky saying that when we're recording before that game's happened. Last night.
5-0 against Leeds, 5-0 against Man City, 5-1 against Palace. It's
Arsenal.
Just ridiculous. Arsenal, thank you. Arsenal, forgot about them.
That's easily done, mate.
That was a nice snowy game, wasn't it? That was the highlight. I've turned it off after the first game. I'm turning off after like 10 minutes at home and going off in a strop. I just can't take it. The only thing is okay. Is he going to be okay? Is he going to make a difference?
There is history here with Allardyce buying players like this who come in. And so I'm thinking Milivojevic at Palace. It's got that kind of ring to that signing to it. Yeah.
I think he's compared him to him actually in an interview. That's who he wants. And he has been going on about, it's not the defence, it's you've got to stop it at the source. So that's why he's brought this guy in. So he might be awful, but when he came on, he looked all right, he looked decent. So that's the only
chance to say he looks okay.
Yeah, he looks okay. Yeah.
It's the only unknown element of Sunday, the only difference. So if it wasn't for him and, a couple of the signings, then I'd be thinking it's definitely going to be a thrashing. It will be. So I think I will captain Bruno I'm going to stand by it.
My opinion, Gary, on buying more United, I agree with you perhaps in terms of getting rid of Bruno after 26 if you have the double, or on 26 if you don't. I think, like, for me, someone who doesn't own Son, if Tottenham have a double in 26 after 2 difficult games and I keep Bruno for your 2 nice looking games, that's obvious. You can book that transfer in for me now. There's nothing I can do about it. That's a certainty. But I'm more thinking a little bit like Gemma here in terms of adding like Rashford potentially this weekend. I've got money burning a hole in my pocket. I've already got 7 doublers. I don't want to add any more. And I'm thinking, tell you what, we get Rashford in now as well. That's going to be one hell of a differential possibly for the next 2 game weeks. Then you've got the double and then worry about it afterwards. But I can't make that decision to even think about it until I know what you do against West Ham and to know if that double in 26 is going to happen or not. Because for me, as someone who's trying to work through the game weeks without using any chips, certainly in terms of a wild card, and I don't have the free hit, then for me, I would need you to have that double for me to even consider adding. And again, like you said, if the double doesn't happen, I'm getting rid of Bruno in 26, and I won't be going back until probably game week 30 or so. I shouldn't think.
Yeah, I still think. I mean, I'm trying to. I don't want to use the wild card to bench boost in 26 because I just don't know what you do in 29 and going onwards. I think it just causes too many problems. But obviously, if you do wild card in 25, it's going to make your bench boost in 26 unbelievable. And it's just trying to work out, should you have a decent bench boost in 26 and then a decent 27, 28, 29, or should you try and have an unbelievable 26 to suffer it later on down the road? But I still think even if we get a double in 26, I still think there's an argument to come off Fernandes. Not because of Fernandes, but I think you could do so much more with that money. I mean, it might end up that you could go to, say, Grealish and Maddison. You know, you could turn a Fernandes and a whoever you've got at 4.5 million. If you've got, I don't know, Romeo or someone like that. I don't know if the math is quite right, but it won't be far off. You could probably do like Fernandes and your 5 millionaire to say Maddison and Grealish, you know, and things like that. Or, you know, you go straight to Son and you've got £1 million sat there again, or get to a Kane or a Vardy. Or
Gary, I've got 7.5 million in the bank as it is.
I know. I know we've all got mad money kicking about, but I don't know. I just think if you look at it, you're not going to captain him for another. What week are we in now? 23, is that?
And up to 24 next.
Yeah, so you're not going to captain him for another 6 game weeks at the earliest. You know, some of the other doubles look unbelievable on paper if they happen. I just think there might be an argument to come off him, but this weekend and the weekend after are the problem because you won't want to miss out on them points, would you?
I think there's a strong argument to say that for a team that hasn't lost away from home for over a year, the fact that they have 2 away games in a double would be a positive, wouldn't it?
I know, but Chelsea away, you know.
We don't know where Chelsea are at the moment, really, do we?
Well, it seems like I'm the only one convinced on them. I think they're a better team than we are. I think they'll finish higher up than we will. I don't think they concede many goals. Palace, in your head, you always think Palace are a good team defensively, but I'm not sure that's actually true this season. But still, it is, again, I'm not saying it's not even about Fernandes. I just think there might be better options out there, you know. And I don't. And the thing is, obviously, Gemma's going to buy Rashford and Greenwood this weekend, but you know, it sounds like you might. But the thing is, if you end up with 3 this weekend and you're happy for him in 25, do you want 3 United in 26? And if you're bench boosting, or you want to attack the other doubles, you've booked yourself 3 transfers out there to attack it, and before you know it, you've booked yourself in a -8 or a -12 to get what to get what a win this weekend. I mean the way Gemma's going on, it's going to be 10-0 anyway. So you get but if it's only 3-0 or 2-0 this weekend, which is more likely,
I'd be happy with that.
Oh, I don't think we'll get. I think we'll be at 3. I think 3 will be the most we get. You know, how many you're going to have to get very lucky to it. You know, if we only score 3, what kind of returns are you thinking? You're not going to get all of them going mad, are you? So I just don't know if it's worth it, but you know, we'll have to see.
What about Gary then? What Gemma's suggesting in terms of even defensively, Wan-Bissaka and your mate Luke Shaw? He's been playing well, mate, since you sacked him off.
He's improving. He's improved a lot as an actual footballer. He's that left back spot's his own, and he's playing really well. But he's still not an FPL asset for me because he's just not. He never. We
won't have it, will you?
Well, no, I won't have it until I see it. And 3 assists in 2 games is great.
It's not enough.
But that's 3 in 2. That's great. I think his career total of assists is about 12 with 1 Premier League goal. So he's not become Maicon overnight or, you know, Cafu. He's having a good little run. We don't keep many clean sheets still. I think our only clean sheets have come in the big games, really, which is odd. You know, we've had Chelsea and City and Arsenal. We've had some 0-0s.
And Liverpool.
And Liverpool, yeah. But, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we kept one against West Brom, didn't we? We beat them 1-0, I think.
Just.
We haven't kept I don't know how many clean sheets you kept this season. Is it 6? I don't know.
I don't know, mate. I've not been counting.
No, but we don't keep many, do we? We're not a Man City or a Chelsea or So
I think if I was buying defensive, it'd be Wan-Bissaka personally.
Well, then how much are you paying? What, five?
I've got money
million?
Everywhere, Gary. I want to spend it.
But, don't spend it on Wan-Bissaka. There's just better things you can do with your money. There's got to be better things to do with your life.
Get Rashford.
I might, mate.
If you're gonna spend all that money on United, go for Rashford or go for Greenwood or Cavani. Don't spend it on Wan-Bissaka.
The thing is, though, Gemma, I've got a goalkeeper problem, right? And maybe you can help me out with this.
You haven't got Johnston.
Yeah, you know I have, right?
That's a serious problem.
That is a massive problem.
The best bit is I started him in goal this week. What was I thinking?
Oh.
So that shows my faith in Spurs. Back at you, girl.
Without Johnston, we would have let in even more than 54 goals.
Well, that's the point, actually, isn't it? Because is he still a decent FPL asset? Just hear me out for a second here. Tough game this week. Burnley. Then, if Everton beat Tottenham on Wednesday, which I think is quite likely, you're potentially looking at a double in 26 of Brighton and Everton. And then on the other side, you've got Newcastle and Crystal Palace as well. Can I just keep him?
No. I would advise you to switch to somebody else.
Is it that bad? So even you're almost saying to me now that if you had a double game week, it wouldn't cross your mind to think, sorry, it's my team. I want to get them by Diang in up front or something like that, or play Johnson in goal.
We don't keep any clean sheets, do we ever? Even when we're playing Sheffield
I'm trying to
United.
think of one. Hold on.
Yeah. Me too. I'm trying to. I was the one.
Sheffield United at home.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the one.
Is that it? Just the one?
I think so, yeah.
Right. Why did I get this goalkeeper about 10 game weeks ago, Gary?
I don't know.
I think the thing with him as well, like Gemma said a few times, is that I think he's a good goalkeeper, but as an FPL asset, even his save points are pretty worthless because you're losing 3s and 4s and 5s. If you're just losing 1s and 2s every week, like say Areola is, you save, or like Meslier. I know they've had a few batterings, but Meslier's getting the clean sheets and the saves, whereas Johnson's getting a lot of save points, but he's also getting a lot of 4s, 5s, and you start ending up with you'll be getting your -1s and nils, and I think you need to come off him, James.
Yeah, no, I probably am. I was just trying to keep it for the sake of the content to see what Gemma would say, to be honest.
Oh, it's a hard no.
Yeah.
Is there anyone what about Maitland-Niles, right? This Gooner fella. 4.6 OOP.
I know, yeah. I know.
Is he a defender in the game?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, because he's a right back who's now deciding that he wants to apply his trade in midfield.
He's always been a midfielder as a kid, in fact.
So he even turned Southampton down and said, "No, I want to go to the mighty Baggies and be relegated with them, but I'm playing in midfield." So hey.
Yeah. Sounds a bit like the Theo Walcott project, that, doesn't it? When he decided he wanted to be the next Henry.
I think the only one, I mean, I know he was benched at the weekend, but the only one that you can pick is Pereira, and he's still 5.6, and there are other people out there, and I think we've seen the best of. I think he's through his purple patch, as it were. I think, yeah.
That system was suiting him, though. It was like I felt like something had fallen into place with a 4-4-1-1, where all right, the results weren't coming, but at least for Pereira, it was getting the best out of him, where he had a natural target on his own. He had people behind him was protecting him. And then, like, against Fulham in the first 25 minutes, he was back on the right in like a 5-4-1. I don't know what that was.
And we talked about this last time with Slav, because Slav wouldn't play him behind the striker, even though everyone knew that was where he needs to play. He kept sticking him out on the right wing. And he's wasted there.
You only have to look at the goal at West Ham to see what he's capable of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you've got Snodgrass now who can play on the right. So stick Pereira behind the striker. That's where he's got to play there. And that might mean somebody like Conor Gallagher gets dropped. But he hasn't been the same player either since Big Sam came in. He doesn't look the same player to me. He's diving around all over the place.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was just going to say, I reckon he's the biggest diver in the whole league.
Oh, I know. Well, he's
awful.
wasn't against Spurs.
He gets into the box and he just throws his bum at people.
Somebody had put him into an amazing position. I think it was Pereira in the box, and he just threw himself down. Rather, and he did it twice. But to be honest, it was just as bad as Salah's yesterday. So that was given.
No comment.
I'm saying nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be upsetting them Reds fans, mate. You know that.
Sorry. But,
guys, I feel like I could talk to the pair of you all night. Gemma, well done for making a completely enlightening situation out of something which I get is pretty gruesome at the moment. Let's do predictions for both of you for the weekend. Seriously, Gemma, correct score prediction?
5-0.
Jesus. Gary?
Well, I'm going to sound like I'm a bit down on us now. I will say we will win 3-1.
Goal for West Brom.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, we'll definitely concede.
You're just making sure that nobody buys Luke Shaw, aren't you?
If you all want to buy Luke Shaw, that is not a problem for me. But this is a guy who's got about 15 attacking returns in about 10 years in the league. So as good as he's playing this season, he's still not an FPL asset. So if you all want to go and buy Luke Shaw, or James, you want to go and buy Wan-Bissaka with your 8 million quid,
I'm not going to.
If that's what's going to... if that's how you enjoy your life, that's not a problem. But I think there's better things to do with it.
What I would say though is I've got 2 free transfers.
Yeah.
And if the FA Cup results don't work out for me, and I decide that I'm wildcarding next week, then I will probably buy 2 Manchester United players this week.
Yeah. See, I'm in the exact same boat. I've got 2 frees, and I don't know if I'm going to wildcard because I was going to roll one. If I've got 2 free. And I've only got 1 United player, and after Gemma's lobbying piece today, I might do something mad like that and get a Greenwood in or a Rashford in, and I might just use my triple captain as well, just to get rid of that as well. By the sounds of it,
do it. Stick it on Bruno.
I tell you why I envisage this going on Sunday afternoon, Gary.
It's
me and you,
0-0.
me and you, going to be in Gemma's DMs going, what the fuck was that, Gem?
yeah. It'll be 1-0 Fernandes penalty again, won't it, or something like that? Johnson or Johnson's 3rd clean sheet of the season or whatever.
I'm gonna go sensible, and I'm going to say 2-0 to Manchester United as a prediction. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think the thing is as well, Gemma, that with the games coming thick and fast. Are you Champions League next week, Gary? Oh, Europa League, aren't you?
No, it was that. I don't know. No, we got knocked out. No, the Europa League starts a week on Thursday, doesn't it?
It's next week, isn't it? Next week. Next midweek. Not this midweek, next midweek. So that's what I'm saying.
That's a week on Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah. So with the European competition starting up, I know it's a 4-day break, but I think if you're ahead in the game, there's no need to go and kill anyone, especially when you got them 9 goals the other day, which, I mean, that was a bonus. It was a 3.5 point win, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit annoying. I mean, some of the refereeing decisions in that game were bizarre, but we haven't got time for that, have we? But it was one of them where you just thought, why are we even bothering? But I suppose it shows some sort of ruthlessness, if you want to call it.
I was quite impressed with it, to be honest.
But then it's completely undone if you throw away 96-minute leads 4 days later. So it's all right being ruthless against 9 men Southampton when it's 6-0. Great, but if you can't hold on to the 3-2 win, then it's worthless, isn't it? But anyway, it's done now.
Guys, wish you both good luck. Gemma, I hope when we speak to you next that you're in a better position and you're advising us about this brilliant player, Mbaye Diagne, who at 6 million, having just risen to 6.4 million, is the talk of the FPL world. Let's wait and see and keep our fingers crossed.
With Eddie Howe in charge or something as you prepare for next season.
Yeah. If I'm lucky, it might be Mourinho, mate.
Oh yeah.
Guys, you can follow Gemma on Twitter at Gemma Baggies. You follow Gary Is My Cat Playing on Twitter. As mentioned earlier, we've got another Clash of the Correspondents on Thursday as well with Rotation FPL. FPL Footballer will be previewing Chelsea Newcastle at the weekend. Thanks very much, guys. Gemma, give our regards to Harrison. Gary, hope the kids are feeling better soon. Thank you both very much. And cue music, please, man child.